Hi there, this is Radar for Underrated Entertainment Blog coming to you with a new endeavor. I usually come out with weekly baseball observations that tell you about all the box scores, all the highlights, and all the roster moves. But with baseball having a freeze on roster move and the fact that we're all stuck in everybody's home because of this pandemic, before all the libraries closed, I had some movies from the Skokie Library and some movies from the Des Plaines Library. And for somebody who's been watching so many movies throughout his high school and college career, where you would say I watched maybe 10 movies per week, maybe two per day, in the summers and the breaks in high school and college, and I'd even watch them on days I went to school. Some Fridays I would, and some Saturday nights, depending on how the Sabbath started and ended. And people have been saying for years, why don't you go and write physical reviews? I'm like, that would have been nice to tell me in high school or college, but not post college where I'm doing other endeavors, okay? So I decided to start talking about all the movies that I have in the house because I can't really go anywhere and everybody else can't go anywhere. So I had some movies left over from the public library in Skokie before they closed and the movies I got from Des Plaines. Now, the first movie I saw was listed as a horror film comedy. It's not a comedy. Simon Pegg plays a bumbling professor. Michael Sheen's another professor. Nick Frost is an activist. And Asia Butterfield plays the friend to the guy who comes from a bad neighborhood, life and stuff, and he gets to go to this British boarding school. But monsters appear, creatures, everything goes awry. People die. It's super gory and bloody, so it's more of a horror film than a comedy. It's a British movie, and it's good acting by Michael Sheen, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost, Asia Butterfield, and the main character. He gets to go to the school. He doesn't realize all the secrets that happen to everybody, and you learn all these things, and a lot of stuff happening. So it's a very interesting movie. It's a thumbs up. It's definitely this movie that you want to watch because it's got a lot of action. It's got creatures. It's pretty good storytelling. So overall, it's a thumbs up to watch that movie, and it's not that long if you like horror films and all this stuff happening. The next movie I watched was Storm Boy. It's a remake from a 1976 movie, and I don't know why they remade it. Children may like it, but it's still it's a bad movie, okay? Him, with storks taking care of it. It'll be a young boy taking care of, like, the storks, the seagulls, whatever. The point is, the movie was horribly put together with the editing of present and past. Jeffrey Rush being an old man, him being past. It was so confusing. It was supposed to be about a young boy, and it really wasn't. Shows him in the future as a grandparent, not really in charge of the business. So even though it was a 99-minute movie, it slowly moved and took forever to move on in the movie. So Storm Boy, it's appropriate, your kids can watch it, but it's a thumbs down. Boring, slowly paced movie that was a remake that should never been remade. Fast Color, sci-fi, superhero film, where the first 45 to 50 minutes is so much boring and dialogue that it's not worth it. It's the final half hour to 40 minutes where there's action and things happen. And basically, Lorraine Toussaint is from a family who stays in a home off to the edge and they don't really interact with people. And the problem is, she then goes off and marries somebody, has a kid, and that kid has the same power. She goes off and she has all these drug issues and has a kid out of wedlock and doesn't know the person. Leaves it with her mother to watch. So the movie starts with her coming back to see her daughter, but all the government agencies that want to harness all their powers and stuff are coming for them. So everybody's in danger for this movie. And they're saying, oh, it's a superhero heroine film. It was an hour and 40 minutes, a little bit too long when it's mostly drama. It's not a sci-fi film. I'd call it a drama with some special effects. And in these special effects, there's barely anything happening in the movie. Lorraine Toussaint does a good job of being the matriarch of the movie, caring about her daughter, her granddaughter, her ex-husband, who left because things got difficult with the powers. He's the sheriff now, so he's there to warn them. She always remembered being the mother to Morris Chestnut and Rosewood, even though she's barely 10 years older. But she does a good job in this movie. And the little girl was in the sci-fi graphic novel book that became a TV show. The past was Mark Paul Gosselaar. She was good in there. But I would give Fast Color, like the movie Storm Boy, a thumbs down because it's really boring. It doesn't pick up until really late in the movie, and there's not a lot of sci-fi or action in this movie. So I would say thumbs down to those two. Hellboy, thumbs up. Even though I've never watched the original with Ron Perlman, but I've seen other Ron Perlman movies, and David Harbour's famous for being in, Stranger Things as the adult. This movie had a lot of action, a lot of violence, a lot of gore, a lot of disgusting things. So it could have been a horror film because it's scary because it's a baby from hell. And he's supposedly a superhero. And I don't know that much about him from the comic books or the TV shows, but it was pretty good. It was a long 2-hour movie, but you enjoy pretty much every moment. There's always actually something going on. There's some sort of British secret society that his adoptive father's from. There's supposedly King Arthur and Merlin in this movie, and this evil woman who they cut up her body pieces so she wouldn't, kill people with the plague and stuff. And she comes back and somebody puts her together, and they gotta stop all these creatures coming from hell. and it's a very, very interesting movie. And actors like Daniel Day Kim, who I've seen, excuse me, in Good Doctor, is going to be New Amsterdam. He plays a British agent. Sorry, but your British accent's horrible. You're not believable as a British man, Daniel Day Kim. Just say you're an operative and you're there to help. So overall, thumbs up for Hellboy. I would probably say it's more of a horror film than an action film or sci-fi film, but it's a graphic novel superhero thing. I can't tell you if it's good as the original holds up, but people can feel free to tell me if it's anywhere near the original Ron Perlman films in the graphic novel. But this is a worthwhile movie to watch. Then the next movie I watched was Bad Kids Go to Hell, the sequel, Bad Kids of Crestview. This movie came out in 2012, and Ben Browder was the janitor, and a bunch of kids died in the movie and stuff like that. It's based off a graphic novel. It was a pretty good movie. No one survived. Not that long of a movie. That was 2012. They decided we're going to make a sequel, Bad Kids of Crestview Academy, where again, a bunch of kids are in school, detention, whatever. People die, somebody comes out alive, whoop-de-doo. Ben Browder decided to take it upon himself to make this whole entire movie himself and do all the stuff. And he's, again, playing the same role of janitor. But guess what? He's barely in this movie, so it doesn't really matter. Drake Bell plays some cuter tech guy, and he's barely in the movie, and they put his song, Bitchcraft in the movie, so that's good for him. But again, Sean Austin plays a bumbling, principal. Gina Gershon plays the politician who's pulling all the strings behind the scene for a rich son who caused problems, and the main character is looking for her sister's murderer from all the people at the party because she's not popular and her sister wasn't either, so it's really funny that these rich kids were hanging out with her, including her and stuff, and she's trying to get to the bottom of it. I don't believe she and her sister are Native American, but it's very stereotypical. You got a black girl, an Asian girl, Hispanic guy who's open gay, and the token white guy who's got from this political family. But the point is, the movie isn't that long. It's got all these twists and turns. It's interesting. It's in a survival, more of a horror film than an action movie. But it overall was not as good as the first one. So I'm a little torn because Ben Browder put a lot of effort into this. You have yourself Sean Astin, Drake Bell, and Gina Gershon in the movie. And it's overall good storytelling, but it's just very stereotypical to have the token people in the movie and everything like that. So it's the type of movie that I'll say that if you haven't seen the first one, you're not going to know the first one's good. If you've never read the comic, you're not going to go. So sorry, Ben Browder, for all the effort you put into this movie. But Bad Kids of Crestview, the sequel to Bad Kids Go to Hell, should never have been made. It's not that great. Those are all the movies that I have had that the Scobie Public Library checked out to me. I then ran over to Display for everything clothed. And as I said, everybody's told me you should write movie reviews. But I jumped the shark on that because I saw so many movies pre-high school as a little kid, seeing pretty much every good movie that's age appropriate for somebody under the age of 17. Sports movies, drama, sci-fi, action films, whatever, movies that my parents wanted me to see. Then I saw so many movies in high school. I said watching like 2 per day during breaks, so it'd be 10 to 14. Then in college watching so many that right now it's all the sort of entertainment you have. Same thing in college, and now watching movies before work or after work, depending on the schedule or when you wake up on your off day. That's how the routine is. So the first movie that I watched was a movie about Shakespeare, and the main actor kind of looks in all the makeup like Ben Kingsley. It's got Judi Dench playing his wife. It's got Ian McKellen playing a friend of his in the movie, and it's basically the fact that there's a dark period of his time before his death where the theater that he's using burned to the ground. So he goes home. He's got to deal with the fact that he's never been around from his wife, and she's got to deal with him. That his only son died when he was younger, and that his daughter says she wrote all this stuff, and that to broke the many relationship with his daughter, who are not his sons, and he has more of a relationship with his son. So, British people talk quietly. So the movie was very hard to hear the dialogue with my parent and my brother talking really loud, but guess what? An hour and 41 minutes with credits, not that long. It's really a 90-something minute movie, and it's very interesting if you like to watch dramas and could tell the way to tell a good drama is the dialogue, okay? And the acting. So you have to listen to the words they're saying. It was a very interesting story about a Shakespeare, so it was very good overall. Just, slowly moving and stuff, but pretty good movie overall if you like drama. So I would give it a thumbs up. Thumbs down to Bad Kids Crestview. Then I watched the movie Littlewood, and I thought it would be like this heist movie where Tessa Thompson is supposed to help her sister out in the situation, them trying to stick over the border of Canada with pills so they can have money, her being evicted, her sister being pregnant with another kid when she has one, the ex-husband being the baby daddy in the issue. But it was so boring, the movie, that I'm sitting there to myself saying, it's a very slowly moving movie That's an hour and 40 something minutes, but it feels like it's almost 2 hours. It's super boring. It is not suspenseful. It's not a thriller. There's nothing in this movie that really makes you go, wow. The only reason to watch this movie if you're a fan of her from the Creed franchise, the Men in Black remake, and of course the Avengers and Thor franchise. But overall, thumbs down because it was super boring and not interesting. Then for the children, I went there and watched Angry Birds 2. And I first saw Angry Birds going, you made a movie out of a video game? Why? But again, I love Jason Sudeikis, so he got to voice the main character who saved the day in the first one. This one, he's got to have to save the day again, because he's the hero. The second thing is interesting that Danny McBride and Josh Gad voiced the other birds, and they're pretty funny. Josh Gad of Frozen, Danny McBride of Eastbound and Down. And then Peter Dinklage voicing the bird, the eagle is interesting. And then they included Rachel Bloom playing Silver, the sister of Josh Gad's character, so that's interesting to have her in the movie. And then, because they fight the pigs, and this is bigger than the pigs, the fact that Bill Hader and Sudeikis, who are buddies from SNL, are playing people that hate each other. Awkwafina, who's come on to fame, she voices one of the pigs. And Sterling K. Brown voices the pig, but he's got a weird British accent, so it's really stupid. They got to stop these, these eagles who are trying to stop them. They live in the Iceland. The problem is, Tiffany Haddish and Leslie Jones voicing characters who are mother and daughter are working together. Very annoying and just horrible. I don't understand the Leslie Jones thing. She should not even been the lead voice of a villain. That's the only negative thing is the person that's voicing the eagle. The rest of the movie's great. Children's like it. It's appropriate. There's good action in the movie with the little chickens and pigs, what they're doing. So I say your kids can watch this movie. It's a great overall movie. The voice cast is great outside of the eagles that are on the island, but except for Beck Bennett's one of them, Pete Davidson, some more SNL people. So this is a worthwhile kids movie, and 90-something minutes, not that long. So I give this a thumbs up because you laugh. It's funny. Yeah, as an adult, there's some really inappropriate jokes that go over the kids' heads like a lot of kids' movie, and you go, ew, that's weird, but they'll find it funny. Overall, good movie. The next movie I watched was El Chicano. It's good to see George Lopez in a movie playing this cop who then becomes head of the police department. There's two kids. One goes on the bad tracks, becomes part of a gang, and the other one becomes a detective. And this movie has to take place where it involves, how did his brother die? He didn't die of suicide. His friend is the leader of the gang, and he's got to deal with the gang and all these people that have to do with cartel in Mexico. And George Lopez is his boss telling him you got to take care of these things, but then they tell him it's above his pay grade. Other people like FBI and all the other people are going into it. So overall, it's based off this a story of this vigilante who takes it into his own hands to kill, the bad guys, take care of it. Like the main character saw this person kill somebody in the past, and he then, because he's taken off the case because it gets too personal, his partner died, he decided to blow it, but he basically becomes the guy, and he's got to take down his best friend and all the bad guys, and it was a really good movie. Wasn't that long, hour for something a minute. It's a very good movie, but it's a very gory, bloody movie. Thumbs up. The next movie I saw was Loose, and it's supposed to be based off this book that was written by somebody, and this guy, and that this kid does a very good job in the movie. Octavia Spencer's typecast playing social workers, foster homes, parents, foster parents who also are grandparents, or she's a teacher or a counselor. And it's basically her problems taking it out on the son, and how he's the stereotypical black guy who's saved from Africa and he's got to put on the world. It was a very good acting by Naomi Watts and Tim Roth as the parents. He's got the friends who he's got to deal with and their problems and stuff. So overall, if you want to sit through a movie that's almost 2 hours, that's based off a book with very good acting and big name actors, it was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's a thumbs up or thumbs down. It's in the middle. It's it's up to you. It's like I said, you can make your decision on if you want to watch a boring movie with Tessa Thompson, if you want to watch a movie about Shakespeare, if you want to watch a bad sequel, things like that. Not a lot of action going on in the movie Fast Color, but overall pretty good. And the last movie I watched on Friday was a movie that had race car driving. It had Dog in a movie. It has Milo from Heroes, from This Is Us, plenty of movies, and he's in this movie. He plays a race car driver who meets Amanda Seyfried. The dog is very important. It's voiced by Kevin Costner. He's like, quote-unquote, human S. It's a story of him finding this dog and this life he has of the dog, being a race car driver, but still not catching his break, teaching people. Gary Cole's the person he works for. The parents, they don't never show his parents, but the in-laws are very important because Amanda Seyfried is, the love of his life, and he's got to deal with navigating his relationship with his daughter and his wife and his parents, and he's got to deal with the repercussions of stuff that happens to Amanda Seyfield and his daughter, and how he becomes this race car driver who's famous and stuff. But it's really about the story about the dog too. So dogs, Milo, race car driving, Gary Cole, all these good actors in the movie. It was very touching, and it's PG. So there's really nothing inappropriate. Your kids can watch this movie about dogs, race car driving, and Milo, who has a knack of playing roles of characters from the past. Guys from the 70s or 80s or 90s, because this takes place not present day, you know. So it's a pretty good movie. It wasn't that long. And he's known for being good at driving in the rain. So that's why it's called The Art of Racing. Art of Racing in the Rain. So overall, Art of Racing in the Rain, thumbs up. Loose, pretty good thing to be thumbs up. El Chicano, pretty good thumbs up. Angry Birds 2, thumbs up. Little Woods, thumb down. All Is True is a medium, but could be thumbs up. Bad Kids of Crestview Academy, thumbs down. Hellboy, thumbs up, because I've never seen the original. Fast Color, thumbs down. And Storm Boy, thumbs down. And the movie Slaughterhouse Rule is thumbs up. I will be coming up with every single month or every couple of weeks with new videos of all the movies that I've watched, and it's going to be shorter. I'm going to try to do it every 2 weeks, so it's only a certain amount of movies, and that it will be a shorter video for you guys to watch. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to On The Radar on YouTube. Like my page on The Radar Entertainment Blog. Follow me on Twitter, Radar4428, and tune into the next video for On The Radar Entertainment Blog with no baseball observations. This is movie observations. See you guys next time.